Hey Yankees fan, good morning. Sit down with me for a second, because today we've got some things to talk about. And look, it's not just one story, not two, it's three topics shaking up the Bronx right now. First, Aaron Boone finally opened up about what happened with Jasson Dominguez. And what he said, man, you can understand it, but it's not easy to accept. Second, there's a prediction floating around that the Yankees might trade Anthony Volpe. Yeah, you heard that right. The guy everyone once believed would be the next Derek Jeter. And third, this one is just starting to surface. There's another development involving the team that we need to break down together. So grab your coffee, because today, Bronx Fan Central is loaded. Let's get into it. Aaron Boone explains decision on Jasson Dominguez. Manager Aaron Boone confirmed it. Jasson Dominguez will not be on the opening day roster. The 23-year-old outfielder was optioned to AAA before the season even begins. And what stands out here isn't just the decision. It's that Boone felt the need to publicly explain it. That already tells you something. The detail no one can ignore. Dominguez had an excellent spring training. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and a .978 OPS. Numbers any player would gladly sign off on. And even so, he was sent down. That doesn't go unnoticed. Boone addressed the media and said the decision was based on the player's development. In his words, as talented as he is right now, there's still a lot more for him to achieve. He also praised Dominguez's attitude during camp, said the kid arrived surrounded by pressure and speculation, and didn't let any of that affect his work on the field. Boone said he's proud of the young outfielder. The official reasoning is that in AAA, he'll get more consistent at-bats, more room to develop without the daily pressure of the Bronx. But then you look at the roster and see that Randall Grichuk, who arrived more recently and didn't do anything notable in spring training, is on the opening day roster. Oswaldo Cabrera, who also fought for a spot, was sent to AAA along with Dominguez. The development argument weakens a lot when you compare the criteria side by side. It's no secret the Yankees have a complicated history with homegrown talent. Clint Frazier spent years going up and down without getting the consistency he needed. Gary Sanchez left without fully reaching the potential everyone saw in him. The fan base remembers, and when they see a prospect being sent down with numbers like these, the warning lights come on immediately. Hey fan, if you're enjoying this breakdown, drop a like. It really helps the channel keep bringing you daily team news. Appreciate it. Behind the scenes, the trade rumors involving Dominguez haven't disappeared. They've gone quieter, but they're still there. The logic is simple. He's 23 years old, still inexpensive, and has extremely high market value. If the Yankees need a major piece before the deadline, Dominguez will be the top trade chip available. I hope it doesn't come to that, but you need to know that possibility exists. If you follow this team, let me ask you something. Do you really believe this is about development? Or do you think something bigger is happening here? Because think about it, if Dominguez had been signed from outside for big money instead of being homegrown, would he be on the roster today? I think the answer is yes. And that says a lot about how this organization treats its own players. The decision might make sense in the long term. AAA with a high volume of at-bats, less pressure, that could truly accelerate his development. But the problem is the inconsistency in the criteria. You can't preach meritocracy and at the same time ignore spring training with nearly a 1.000 OPS. It doesn't add up. In practice, the Yankees will start the year without the 2 young players with the highest offensive upside in the organization on the roster. Dominguez and Cabrera in AAA at the same time is depth the team is voluntarily giving up. If there's an outfield injury in the first few weeks, this decision is going to show up in the headlines in a very uncomfortable way. If Dominguez comes up in July and shines, the narrative completely flips. The decision will look brilliant and Boone will look like a visionary. But if the team struggles in the first month and he's tearing it up in AAA, the pressure to call him up will be massive. And then the question everyone will ask is, why wasn't he here from the start? Look, I understand the development logic, I really do. But I can't defend this decision when I put it next to Grichuk making the roster. These are different standards being applied to different players, and that's not fair to the guys who earned it. I truly hope I'm forced to eat this take in July. I want to see Dominguez come up and dominate. But today, based on what's in front of me, I think the Yankees made their own path harder than it needed to be. There are 2 possible paths from here. Best case scenario, he works hard in AAA, comes up in July fully ready. and becomes a key piece in the second half of the season. Worst case scenario, he keeps waiting for an opportunity that never comes, the team decides to use him in a deadline trade, and we lose another homegrown talent without ever truly maximizing him. Dominguez has everything to be an impact player for this team. Talent isn't the issue. Opportunity is, and for now, the Yankees have decided to hold that opportunity back. The season will answer whether it was the right call, and we'll be here to follow every chapter. News 2. Possible trade involving Anthony Volpe. A recent analysis published by Fansided brought up a prediction that's going to shake a lot of people. The Yankees may be preparing to end the Anthony Volpe experiment, and the Atlanta Braves could be the most likely destination in a potential trade. Yes, the shortstop who arrived being compared to Derek Jeter might be running out of time in the Bronx. Before anything else, here's a number that sums up the situation. In 3 MLB seasons, Volpe holds a career average of .62 OPS. He won a Gold Glove in 2023, and his defense remains solid, but his bat regressed in 2025, and his WAR dropped by half compared to the previous year. For a starting Yankees shortstop, those numbers are not acceptable in the long run. The fan-sided analysis is straightforward. The Yankees can't keep waiting for Volpe to reach the level that was expected when he was called up. There's a limit to patience, and that limit may be getting close. The Atlanta Braves emerge as a natural fit. Their current shortstop is Mauricio Dubon, who is limited. Ozzie Albies is expected to hit free agency soon. And Volpe still has 2 years of affordable control, meaning the Braves wouldn't be taking a big financial risk by betting on him. The Yankees are in a win-now window. The roster was built for that. Expensive pieces, long-term contracts, and World Series pressure hanging over everything. In that context, a shortstop hitting .222 and regressing each season doesn't fit the plan. The position needs production, and Volpe hasn't delivered that consistently. Volpe's story in the Bronx is a classic case of hype, arriving too heavy, too early. The comparison to Derek Jeter didn't come from him. It came from the media, parts of the organization, and collective expectations. And that weight is real. New York isn't an easy environment for any player, especially a young shortstop being compared to the greatest icon in franchise history. Maybe, and I say maybe, in a different environment, without that constant spotlight, he can find the version of himself everyone believes is still there. Behind the scenes, there are signs the Yankees have been monitoring the shortstop market for a while now. This isn't new. Internally, there have already been questions about whether Volpe is truly the long-term answer at the position. The 2026 season could be decisive. If he starts strong in the first couple of months, trade talks cool off. But if he repeats or worsens what he showed in 2025, the July deadline could be when this decision is finally made. Do you believe in Volpe? Honestly? Because there are fans who still do, who believe it's just a matter of time, that the talent is there, that he only needs one pressure-free season to break out. And there are fans who've lost patience, who believe 3 years is enough time to show growth, and what they saw in 2025 was a step backward. I understand both sides, and I think this season is going to settle that debate once and for all. A potential Volpe trade wouldn't be easy, but it would be calculated. He still holds value on the market precisely because he's young, affordable, and still seen as high upside outside of New York. A well-structured trade could bring back an immediate impact piece that better fits what this team needs right now. The risk? Trading him and watching him thrive somewhere else. That happens. But holding on to a player who's regressing at the most important infield position also comes at a high cost. If Volpe is moved, the Yankees will need to solve the shortstop position somehow, either through the return package or another internal-external solution. And here's the issue. The organization doesn't have an obvious ready-made replacement right now. That means any move involving Volpe has to come with a clear plan. A trade for the sake of trading solves nothing. It has to be a move with direction. If Volpe starts hot in April and May, all of this will sound like an overreaction. And maybe it is. But if June arrives and he's putting up the same numbers from 2025, the trade market will be open and the Yankees will have a real decision to make. In a season with championship pressure, you can't carry a problem position into October. I'm rooting hard for Volpe. I really am. I want to see him become the player he was projected to be, but I can't ignore the numbers. 3 years, a batting average below .230, declining WAR. In any other market, this trade conversation probably would have started earlier. What worries me isn't the possibility of a trade. It's the possibility that the Yankees wait too long. And by the time they act, Volpe's market value may not be what it is today. There are 3 realistic paths for 2026. He breaks out, hits above, .260, silences the critics, and proves everyone wrong. That's the scenario I want. He stays at the same level, the Yankees hold through the season, and revisit the decision in the offseason. Or he regresses further, the deadline arrives, and the trade happens during 2026, likely to Atlanta or another team in need of a young shortstop with upside. Volpe enters 2026 at a defining moment in his career. There's no soft way to say it. Either this season changes the narrative, or it confirms what critics have been saying for the past 2 years. I want to believe in the positive outcome, but the Yankees and the fans need real answers, not just potential. Let me know in the comments, do you still believe in Volpe, or do you think a trade is inevitable? I really want to hear what you think. News 3. New development involving the Yankees emerges. The Yankees bench for opening day is officially set. Aaron Boone confirmed it. J.C. Escarra, Paul Goldschmidt, Ahmed Rosario, and Randall Grichuk. Oswaldo Cabrera was sent down to AAA Paul DeJong too. And Grichuk, who just arrived on a recent deal and had a quiet spring training, made the roster. A lot of people didn't understand it. And honestly, neither did I. Here's what makes this decision hard to defend. Grichuk was the player who arrived the latest in camp and didn't do anything notable during spring training. Meanwhile, Cabrera was legitimately competing for a spot and showed more on the field throughout the preseason. The Yankees chose the outside veteran over the player who earned the opportunity. The organization's logic, according to Boone, is that they wanted a right-handed outfielder off the bench. Grichuk fits that profile, and the front office believes he's the right piece for that specific role on the roster. Cabrera, who is a switch hitter and played just 34 games last year, was competing for the final utility infield spot with Rosario. He didn't get it, and with Grichuk taking a spot in the outfield, there was even less room available for him. This decision doesn't happen in isolation. It's part of a pattern fans have already started to notice this spring. Dominguez had an excellent spring and was sent down. Cabrera competed for a spot and lost it to an outside veteran. The Yankees seem to be making decisions based on criteria that go beyond on-field performance, and that creates distrust. This isn't the first time the Yankees have preferred a known veteran over a young player who earned a chance. Trent Grisham and Ryan McMahon are recent examples, players who were kept on the roster despite being clearly outperformed by other options. The organization has a track record of valuing experience over immediate performance. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it just delays the development of players who should be getting those reps. Hey fan, if you're following this breakdown, drop a like. It really helps the channel keep bringing Yankees news every day. Thank you! Behind the scenes, the talk is that the Yankees view Grichuk as a short-term piece, someone to cover the outfield while younger players continue developing in the minors. The problem is that this logic can create a cycle. You send young players down to develop, fill the roster with veterans to cover, and when the young players are ready, another veteran is brought in to hold the spot. This has happened before in this organization, and the fan base is paying attention. Did you agree with this move? Because I've heard a lot of frustrated reactions, and I get it. This isn't just about Grichuk or Cabrera individually. It's about what this decision represents. It's about the Yankees looking internally and deciding the external option is better, even without that player proving it in spring training. Do you think Cabrera would have been the better option? Let me know in the comments. Looking at it objectively, a bench needs consistency and versatility. Rosario covers the infield, Goldschmidt is the experienced first baseman, Escarra is behind the plate. Grichuk fills the role as the right-handed fourth outfielder the organization wanted. On paper, it makes sense. The issue isn't the concept, it's the execution. Because if you wanted a right-handed outfielder, there were internal options who could have filled that role too. The organization made a choice, but it wasn't the most defensible one. In practice, the Yankees' opening day bench is a survival bench, not an impact bench. There's no real upside there. No player on that list who can come into a game and completely change it with one swing. It's a bench that works if the starters stay healthy and the games don't demand too much from the reserves. But over a 162-game season, the bench will be tested. It's only a matter of time. If the starting outfield stays healthy all year, Grichuk may barely see the field, and the impact of this decision will be minimal. But if there's an injury, and in a 162-game season, there always is, the bench will be exposed. And that's when the absence of Dominguez, Cabrera, or any higher upside player will become very real. Roster depth isn't measured when everything goes right. It's measured when things go wrong. I'll be direct. This was the decision that bothered me the most this entire spring, not because Grichuk is a bad player, but because of the message it sends to players within the organization. You compete, you perform, and still, the outside veteran gets the spot. That's discouraging. It creates an environment where spring training performance doesn't really matter. And for a team trying to build a winning culture, that kind of message works against it. If Grichuk performs well off the bench, covers key innings, delivers clutch hits, the decision will be validated and the noise will fade. If he's invisible or struggles in key moments, the pressure to call up Cabrera or another young player will rise quickly, especially if the team starts the season slow. And if an outfield injury happens, and the team lacks exactly the type of player they sent to AAA, then the conversation in the Bronx is going to get very uncomfortable. At the end of the day, the opening day roster is set. Nothing changes now, only what comes next. What this spring leaves behind is the feeling that the Yankees made some decisions, prioritizing present comfort over future potential. And for a team that needs to win now, that's a risky bet. The season will show whether it was the right call, and we'll be here following every chapter. And do you think Grichuk will justify that roster spot? Or will this be one of those decisions we look back on in September? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want to support the channel, the link is in the description and pinned comment. Every bit helps keep this content going daily. Let's go Yankees!